Hey everybody! Welcome back to the Stash Project. So it's me from the future, from the editing suite. This video that you're about to watch, along with probably 2 or 3 other things, have been lingering in the limbo of, boy am I busy and I don't have time to edit. So there will be, over the next couple of days, probably through the holiday weekend, several videos that are going to, I don't know, not be aging very well, in the sense that they're sort of older content. This video, of course, as you've seen in the title by now, is the May compilation video, which, of course, should have been out probably 2 weeks ago. Most of the kits that we're going to talk about here are already out, especially the domestic subjects. However, I know that not everybody exactly haunts their hobby shop on a day-to-day basis, and so this information is probably still fairly valid to the majority of you watching. We're also going to be uploading a video from NNL East, as far as like what our interpretation of the show was, as well as looking at the newly announced kits that were discussed there. I realize that's a month out of date at this point, but people who ask me my opinion on stuff, in terms of those releases, so I figured it was worth going ahead and editing up that video and putting it out. And then there will be a video looking back at the Shizuoka Hobby Show, which took place, as I'm recording this from the future, took place about 2.5 weeks ago. I know it's been covered in a couple of different places, not particularly greatly, so we're going to take our own spin, in-depth look at those kit announcements and sort of reviewing certain things. Like Nunu had a bunch of stuff we've already seen pretty much, it's just sort of different versions of it. And yeah, that ought to pretty much catch us up. And then we have some kit reviews that I have filmed for one of the kits that we're going to talk about in this video. We'll see if you can figure it out just by watching the video, which one of those kits it happens to be, as well as, actually, 2 of the kits we're going to talk about in this video, now that I think back at to what I've talked about in the past. So yeah, those will be coming out as well, probably sometime next week. And yeah, there's a lot of information to cover, and I still feel most of it's relevant, so I'm just going to go ahead and push forward with them, even though they're a little later than I would like to have gotten them out. The middle of May is especially busy for us as part of the other hobby that I'm involved in. It involves doing a lot of photography work for the various events that take place during National Police Week, which culminates on May 15th with the National Police Officers Memorial, which is, of course, looking back at the previous year's fallen officers who died in the line of duty. And so we're super, super busy. We're in D.C., we're in Cleveland, we're here around town in Pittsburgh. Lots of stuff going on, and that's pretty much why things have been late. So, without further ado, let me go back to my past self and tell you about the kits that you're going to buy in the month of May. And again, we'll talk about some other things as those videos come out as well. Hope you guys have a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you in a couple of seconds, actually. Heck with the other side. Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Stash Report from the Stash Project. This is going to be our May 2023 compilation video. Welcome to our new subscribers. We did have a few new people join in the past month, so welcome aboard. If you've not seen one of these videos yet, we take a look at the expected kit releases for the given month. Again, May of 2023, and again, we focus mostly here on the automotive side of the hobby, in terms of those kit releases. So yes, there's a whole bunch of ships and planes and stuff like that, but we don't talk about that here. This is a cars-centric channel. We have some Revell kits to talk about that actually came out at the end of last month, the very end of April. And then we have releases from Round 2, of course, from Salvina's JR, from Atlantis, and then several releases from overseas as well. So, starting as always here in the United States, let's take a look at those Revell kits first, because technically these kits are already out at your better stocked hobby shops, and they include the 1/32 scale Chevy Bison. We normally don't cover the small scale stuff here necessarily, but this was a fresh release that had been touted from Revell, pretty much going back to the IPMS Nationals at Omaha last summer. So this kit is finally out. They are going to be releasing a couple of 1/32 scale trailers for these over the summer, fall, winter, whenever they get around to them. So there will be trailers to put with these at some point, but that kit is out. And then two of the sort of new-ish releases as well. Up top, you have the 1984 Bronco with the bass boat and trailer set on the Gone Fishing set. This is 1/24 scale, so this is the monogram Ford Bronco kit, not the Revell one. Take that for what you will. This has a different bass boat attached to it than it did in the previous Gone Fishing set. They've sort of switched the boats up a little bit. The Bronco, I think, has been out in the intervening time. It's been released somewhere in the truck line. I'm trying to think what the heck they call that series. Trucks. It's just called Trucks. Sometime in the mid-20-teens, early 20-teens. So it's been about 10 years or so since the Bronco's been out. I don't think the bass boats have been released since the Gone Fishing sets in the 90s, so if you're interested in those, that's out. And then down there at the bottom is the sort of Revell Germany source, if you will. All the U.S. Truck kits that were done in the 80s and 90s that were sort of designed at a point where Revell was still back in Venice, California, and then in Morton Grove in Elk Grove by itself prior to the merger with Monogram. Those toolings were all done in Europe, so the tooling is technically over there. It is in a U.S. box this time as opposed to a Revell Journey box, but it's the W900 dump truck that you obviously have seen, and it's the first time that's been out for, I needed to look that up because I can't remember. So as we sit here and discuss things, how you doing? Is everything good with you? Folks, as we pumped into the scale mates here. It's thrilling, right? I should have looked this up earlier, but there we go. Last time it was out was 1994, and then 2012. Last time it was out was 2012. So again, 10, 11 years. I was right the first time. Didn't even need to look. I was just that knowledgeable on my own. How about that? But for big truck fans, that kit is back out there. It's a little pricey, but consider it is a huge truck. And if you consider the the International Paystar dump truck came out last month from round 2, it is dump truck city for the truck guys. Now granted, it's old trucks, not new truck kits that I'm sure people would like to have, but is what it is. Over at Atlantis, 2 kits that they're putting out in the automotive thing. They put out a whole bunch of kits on the regular, but we don't really talk about a lot of them because they're not really car kits. Reissue of the old Monogram 1/20th scale midget racer. This kit, believe it or not, was tooled up back in the 1950s. That is how old this is. So if you're interested in this, it is available, molded in light blue, new decal sheets and color instructions. So they've spruced it up a little bit. Very basic kit. I've seen some very nice models built from it, but it is a very basic kit, obviously, from its age. And then the other release is the second of the Keeler's Customs, which we haven't really talked about probably in 2 years, because the last Keeler's Custom came off during the year we weren't here. But the Keeler's Customs, to refresh your memory from the Vegas Nationals, is working with Jim Keeler, who was one of the head people at Revell, who designed the parts packs, which are what all of these are sort of based upon. And they're coming with like a little spool of ignition wire. They come with an extra engine. This, of course, has the 392 Hemi in it, but it also has the Pontiac parts pack engine as well. This, of course, being the Revell Miss Deal Studebaker gasser. And they can't use that because that is a Revell Direct license, and obviously they don't have that, so they've rebranded it as the Scorpion gasser, but it is the same exact kit as the Miss Deal gasser, just like I said, with an extra engine and the toss in of the ignition wire. So free engine, if you will. If you like the Miss Deal gasser, you probably already have a couple. This is going to be molded in red and with a new decal sheet, so if that's something you're interested in, that is going to be available this month. Over at Salvino's JR, they've got 3 releases that are going to be for sure coming out in May, and then we have one sort of side release. Side release being Wes's Model Car Corner is doing This is actually now the fourth modified kit. They did another one that actually has already came out that we didn't talk about because I wasn't paying attention, but this is the Keith Rocco Racing version of the modified kit. This was done with Salvino's JR, basically Jim Rogers doing the design and the CAD work, and then Wes has paid the freight in terms of getting the kits made and producing them and all that sort of thing. So there were 2 kits done at the end of last year, prior to us going back and starting doing the monthly videos. There was a kit done last month, and then this kit is coming out this month in May. And then over at Salvino's, they have the Toyotas. The Toyotas are finally coming out this month. So that will complete the next gen kits in terms of the NASCAR kits. The kit of the month, the one that all of the people who belong to the Salvino's Builders Club are going to get, is the Martin Truex, or excuse me, is the Denny Hamlin kit, the 2023 FedEx car. This ends up working out pretty well because Denny Hamlin just won the race in this FedEx Express livery probably 2-3 weeks ago. So good on them for for accidentally snagging a winning car by accident. Because Denny Hamlin's edition being sponsored by Sports Clips and I think it's Chantrix, is going to have a bunch of FedEx liveries like he usually does. FedEx Office, FedEx Ground, FedEx Express, all those things. And it was actually the FedEx Express livery that won the race, so that saves you, if you're interested in it, from trying to go back around and collect a little pieces of wording for the particular part of FedEx division. This is molded in white, and all the decals do the rest of the heavy lifting. The other Toyota that is available this month is the Martin Truex Jr. Bass Pro Shops Club livery. This is molded in black, and it is a wrap. There are 3 sheets of decals included with this kit, and you wrap the entire kit in decals. So if you're afraid of decals, this may not be the best first next-gen kit to start with, but they are finally now available in the sense of the Toyotas, and you can now build pretty much any 2023 car that you want to, if you can find decals in the aftermarket for it, or the ones that are coming along from Salvino's. One Camaro coming out this month as well, and that is the Chase Elliott 40th anniversary Hooters Night Owl edition, as they're calling it. So last year's Hooters car was white, this one's black. Night Owl, haha, get the joke there. Kit is molded in black, and the decals do everything else for you. So yeah, if you haven't caught up with what us as we've gone through this does have the 2023s at this point do have the hood, the appropriate 2023 hood. They do have the roof rail fixed on the roof that was a problem throughout the 2022 kits. And there's also a dashboard and electronics box included in this as well. One neat thing about the Toyotas before we go over to round 2, the Toyotas actually include a extra parts tree because, as it turned out, the front bumper for the space frame, the actual chassis of the car, didn't fit this new body, because in real life all the chassis are the same, but with the realities of plastic injection molding, the thickness of the plastic car is obviously thicker than the sheet metal carbon fiber. That's not sheet metal, it's carbon fiber of the race car is. So they had to go back and retool slightly that front bumper, and while they were doing that, they added windshield wiper, they added bumper cameras for the front and rear bumpers, and rain mud flaps, the little see-through mud flaps that they run on race setups. If you're a NASCAR fan and you just watched the Winston All-Star race, you know that they were running that rain setup at that track. So yeah, I mean, you could obviously steal them out of these Toyotas to put them on other things, because they'll be a universal fit. Obviously the chassis are the same in all of them, and the windshields are the same in all of them. Really, the only difference in the bodies of these kits are the front and the rear clips, basically. And then the under hood areas, the air boxes and the air intakes and things like that are different between the Ford, the Chevy, and the Camry. So those parts would fit on anything. I believe, if I remember my web surfing correctly, Mike's Decals is going to do a dual monster sheet for Ty Gibbs and Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon won COTA, Circuit of the Americas, and all the road racing cars use that rain setup all the time, regardless of whether or not it's raining or not. So if you wanted to make the appropriate Coda winner, which was a Camry, for Ty Dillon, you can obviously buy. Probably better off starting off with the Martin Truex kit because it's already molded in black, and Ty Dillon's car, the monster cars, are black. And you'll already have all the parts you need for setting up the car for the rain, because it didn't actually use rain tires because it didn't rain, but it had the rain setup. So I hope that sort of coherently made sense, but yeah. Moving along to round 2, we have several releases this month. First up, start up the MPC side of things. Got the Golden Hawk Special Edition Jeep CJ. So this is the Daisy Duke Jeep, is what this is. Tooled up in the 1980s, or 1970s actually, and reissued throughout the 80s. I believe this is 82 or 83 box art here, and last seen as Daisy Duke's Jeep. Obviously, Dukes of Hazzard is verboten, as it is with everything, and if you haven't figured it out by now, they've reissued every other Dukes of Hazzard kit, right? So you have the Charger's been out a couple of different times, the police car had the light bar retooled and put out as a CHP car, the 74 Roadrunner had the actual Roadrunner licensing applied back into it and was put out as a kit. So this is sort of the last one of those regularly released Dukes of Hazzard kits to come back, and so new decal sheet obviously, and they retooled these wheels when they did the tires when they redid the Sodbuster GMC truck, so it should be those new tires rather than the old 1980s 1970s era tires in there. That would be the upgrade to this kit, I guess. But if you have a Daisy Dukes Jeep, you know what this is. There shouldn't be anything different about it other than the tires. Then we go over to AMT, 1967 Chevelle SS396, tooled up in 1990. So a newer tool kit, if you will, in the vintage box art. It's got red line pad printed tires in here, new decal sheet, which should include things like badges and gauges. That's what they've been doing the last basically for 2023, which is almost worth, if you have some of these kits and you're not going to build them, but you like to have a 67 Chevelle, almost worth dumping some of those old kits to get the new kits with the fresh decals, because when these kits were done in the 1990s, even though they were like new tool, modern at the time, they didn't have any gauges in the decal sheets, very minimal decal sheets on these. Usually had like the air cleaner and a license plate, and that was pretty much it. So that's out. Reissue of the 70 Buick Wildcat hardtop in the Craftsman Plus series. I know everybody looks at Craftsman Plus and they go, oh god, it's a curbside, and that's true. However, the 1970 Buick Wildcat has always been a curbside. This was never a full detail kit. The 69 is a full detail kit, but the 70 is a unassembled promo basically. This is like 35 parts. They did put new decals in here, pinstripe tires. I believe there are white walls on one side and dual pinstripe white walls on the other. Vintage box art, obviously, and so no complaining about this one being what it cost, because they're gonna this, that, the other thing. This has always been this way, so it is what it is. Reissue of the double dragster kit. So this is a 2-kit box. You get the Fiat Ultra Drag, I guess. I think what AA stands for is Ultra Fuel, and then you got the Rail Dragster that's in the background there. New decals, tinted window glass. These have, I believe, 2 engines, one for each, and then there's like 4 or 5 induction options for each of the engines. When they set the thing on the end, which would be the top of the picture if you look at it here, there's basically like the Rail Dragster with 6 different engine options. So there's a plethora of parts. This last out in a collector's 10 about 10 years ago. So if you're interested in it, this actually reflects back to the second box art of this kit from 1967. So it's kind of cool if you're into the retro box art. Next up, a reissue of the 51 Chevy Fleet line. So built stock or custom. The convertible version of this, the Bel Air 51 Bel Air, has been out not too terribly long ago, 2016, which I realize at this point is 7 years ago, but that's not too terribly long ago when this kit hasn't been out since the Millennium series. So it's been a little while on that. You know what to expect here. It's an older tooling from, again, the 60s, 70s, and I think this is... I looked this up, and I don't have it sitting in front of me. I don't know if I'm going backwards will help me here. This is a 1976 box art when it says it's a new tool. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Scalemate's kind of iffy on some of this information, but I'd buy that is 1970s box art. But yeah, the last time this kit was out was 2012 in a collector's tin. So it's been 11 years on that one. And then we get into the new tool kits for round 2. First up, you have the 65 Pontiac GTO Hardtop Craftsman Plus series. Remember, this kit and the 68 GTO are based off of old promos they found in a box with Geostorm promos of all things. Don't know why they were in there, how they got there. But this is new tooling based on the promos. It is very, very unlikely that these will be redone as full detail kits in the future. The 63 Nova wagon is what everyone points at as being like aha, they got us buying 2 kits. But the 63 Nova wagon was always done as a Craftsman Plus and then was done as a full detail kit. Like the kit that they reproduced with the full detail kit in the trailer is a real thing. That's how that kit existed in 1963 when it came out as a full detail kit. But it was also done as a dealer promo and it came out as a Craftsman Plus, Craftsman Junior kit back in the day. So yeah, that... If you knew your history of your kits, you probably could have thought you could have expected the full detail one. But again, this is based on a promo. This one is a very low parts content, but it does come with 2 different sets of wheels. 3 different sets of wheels. You really want to just put steel wheels on this, and then it's got the hubcaps that you see on the box art, and then it's got the Rally 2 wheels included as well. It's got red line pad printed tires, and it again is a brand new tool. It has the engine insert in the chassis with a separate hood, so if you wanted to combine it with the venerable 65 Pontiac GTO convertible for guts and motivation, you could, if you so desired. And then the other new toolkit is this 1992 Chevrolet Silverado Fleet Side Short Bed. So this is based on the promo tooling as well. We can have an argument about why that is, but it is what it is in the sense. This is what they decided to do with it. It again has the chassis plates that you can put an engine into this if you so desired. It is curbside, but it is new tooling, and due to the fact that the chassis to the Silverados was damaged, destroyed, modified, however you want to, whatever word you want to use, when they made the monster truck version of the Silverado, this was the only way it was going to come back, was in this form or fashion. So at this point, I don't think anybody has a factory stock 92 Silverado at this anymore. Like, I'm sure there's probably 4 or 5 of them rolling around that you could point me to and be like, well, this one right here is, so special. Yeah, but like at this point, this car is 30 years old, and it's been LS swapped. It's got a modern engine in it. It's been lowered. It's been raised. It's been, this is really a great canvas for somebody who wants to get a box and stuff aftermarket stuff into a 3D printing, engines and all that stuff being what it is. You could do pretty much whatever you want to with this. It comes with like steel wheels. It comes with the 454 style wheels for the 350 SS Sport option that is in this kit. So is it ideal if you wanted a 454 SS reissue? No, but this is what you're going to get. So I guess I hesitate to say deal with it, but I actually have a completely separate idea for a video about model kit costs, and I need to sort of flesh out the all the working components of it. But I don't necessarily think you're going to appreciate it as much as I think it's funny, but maybe we'll get around to that at some point. But that takes care of the US kits, which takes us, of course, overseas. One kit that has just been released, and finally, is the 1997 Brands Hatch winner Volvo S40 British Touring Car Championship car from the folks over at Nunu. So this is a brand new tool kit of the 1997 Volvo, obviously. There are plans to do the 98 and 99 versions as well, from what I understand. Looking at the way the kit is broken down, the fact that the body has several different flashed over holes for the spoiler, because the spoiler is primarily one of the big things that changed between the years of the car. It does indicate that there will be other versions of this. Obviously, they're not going to just make one version for just this one race and be done with it. In 1997, This was a new car in the British Touring Car Championship Series, and so it took a little while to work out the kinks, but it did win the one race. And yeah, you paint the car white, the decals do everything else, including around like the front grille and all that sort of thing. And there is a detail upset sold separately that is going to have a sheet of photo etch, your seatbelt material, an antenna, and then it's going to have 3 sheets of carbon fiber decals for the interior, the exterior, some of the chassis parts and things like that. So pretty comprehensive PE set, or PE set and carbon fiber decal set, if you're so inclined. And then we go over to Aoshima. Aoshima's got several releases this month that are a little bit of oldies but goodies, right? So 94 Toyota RAV4. It's a JDM version of this, but RAV4 is something we had here in the United States, so you can sort of play around with it a little bit. It does come with decals to make those nifty seats that are multicolor fabric. Comes with 3 sets of wheels. You can build this as a RAV4 L or RAV4J, which are 2 different trim levels. The only difference with them visually is the grills are different. Everything else is like decal trim things, different little lettering badges and things like that. It does come with every part that the RAV4s have ever come with, so you get like the roof rack, you get the ladder rack for the rear of the car. Comes with the spare tire carrier, because normally I think the L came with just the spare tire mounted, and then the J comes with the spare tire covered. It was another difference between the two, but yeah, be that as it may, this kit has not been out for quite a long time. The last time this was out, I believe, was in the RV series, which puts that in the early 2000s. So it's been probably close to 20 years since this kit's been available last. So that's out there. Reissue in the Toon Car series of the Mazda Speed version of the FD3S RX-7. Just a reissue of the A-Spec RX-7. Nothing especially new here, just adding it to the Toon Motor Car line for the first time. And then sort of a really biggie, if you're a Nissan fan, is the Nismo R34 Skyline GTR S-Tune. A lot of people don't realize there is an Z-Tune. Obviously, that's the R34 that everybody knows, the aftermarket Nismo one they made 30 of and blah, blah, blah. But lesser-known versions that Nismo did were the S-Tune and the R-Tune. And back in the 2000s, they put out kits of both of them. That was the only time they've ever been released, was in 2004 and then 2005 for the R-Tune. So this kit literally hasn't been available for nearly 20 years, and finding a copy of one is incredibly hard. Now, they will be available for $27 or whatever the total cost of shipping would be to you. But very, very cool to have this come back. Fresh decals, because at this point those decals are, toasty in pretty much every kit of this. The big differences in this kit from the Z-Tune is it has a sort of a stock V-Spec 2 hood compared to the Z-Tune's big louver hood, and then it's got a different style for a spoiler, and it's got a different set of Nismo wheels on it than the Z-Tune does, but it does have that Nismo R34 front bumper that you sort of associate with the Z-Tune. But, it's curbside, so like all the engine detail that make it an S-Tune isn't there, but, it's still a pretty cool car, all told. One last kit at Aoshima is the release in the initial D line of the S15. So this is very comically, I need to look up what exactly this is called, because it's got a nifty name to it now. I don't believe there's actually, I think there might be exhaust part, maybe the new piece to this. I need to see, here it is. It's called The Two Guys from Tokyo. And it is a very specific race where these two gentlemen were racing against Akaya's S13. And this does, it comes with a new special muffler as far as new parts go, but it includes window masks as well. But otherwise, it's the S15 kit that you'd sort of know and love if you have any knowledge of Aoshima's Nissans. So Just a neat little thing being added to the initial D series. I think the initial D series is if you bought every single car, including like the hero kits, they're up to like 30 some versions of those kits, not including the pre-painted ones. So another one for that stack. Over at Fujimi, we're going to have 3 releases this month, and like normal, I don't have box art for all of them. First up, you have the reissue of the Subaru Impreza WRX STI Spec C. Spec C was the closest thing to a road-going rally prep car as you could purchase from Subaru in Japan, obviously. This kit hasn't been out in about 20 years as well. Very, very hard to find if you could find it. There's not a lot different to this compared to an STI WRX, but yeah, there are a few little different pieces and parts to this that are not in other kits. They're only in this one. So if you're interested in this specific version of the WRX STI, it's available. On 1/12 scale, they've reissued their R32 GTR kit again. This time it's going to have the Trampio BP livery on it. You may recall that last month Hasegawa put this out as a 1/24 scale kit. And then apparently Fujimi was like, hey, that's a good idea. We're going to put that out as a 1/12 scale kit. I don't know for sure. I'd have to like dig in the history. I don't think they've ever done the 1/12 scale kit in this car. They've done it in several different liveries, but I don't believe this one was one they've done in the past. But be that as it may, it's the same 1/12 scale Skyline GTR as it's always been, just with a new set of decals. And then the last kit from Fujimi is going to be a reissue of their Honda CRZ. Now, I know this is in Japanese and you can't read it, but the basic gist of it is talking about this, basically the CRZ and the kit. Basically, it's mostly information about the car. This kit was done back in 2012. It has not been released. It was in the catalog for a very, very long time, but it has not been reissued since then. So if you were interested in this car, in a kit of this car, this is going to be coming back later this month. So, cool. We'll go over lastly to Hasegawa in terms of our Japanese releases. So, we have this, the 1986 Rally Sprint winner of the Toyota MR2 late version. So this was a track rally, strictly driven on a racetrack. You notice there's no roll cage in this car in this picture. It was just a factory stock MR2 with some logos thrown on the side of it. And yeah, it was done in Britain, and yeah, it's the winning car for that thing. Cool. Nothing new about this other than the decals. And then we have a reissue of their Porsche 944 Turbo Racing in the 1988 Porsche Turbo Cup winner. So this is another Roland Ash car. He won this 944 Turbo Racing Series. The Turbo Cup was just 944s, nothing else. It was a single make racing series. They've already released the 87 Turbo Cup winner. He won in 87, 88, 89, all 3 years that the series ran. He was the champion for the series, so this is his 88 car. Kit's pretty good, although you do have to do a little bit of modifications to it in terms of sanding off the side trim and doing a few other little odds and ends to make the car less street, more race. But it is full detail. It does have an engine. So if that's something you're looking for, that will be around. And then reissue of their Subaru Legacy RS rally car. This in the 1990 Rally New Zealand version. You notice the top of the Rally New Zealand there has a big blank blue spot, so you can guess which tobacco livery sponsored this rally, which are decals that you do not receive in this kit. So you're going to have to be looking around trying to find a set of Rothman's words to put up there. These were also ran cars in the rally itself. Wheels do not match the kit contents. And then we have, let me see, one more rally car, the 1992 Portugal rally car for the Nissan Pulsar GTI R. What I find is very interesting about this is the SS Gigantic logos are on the box art, but they are not on the decals in this kit for some reason. And I believe that's a tobacco tie-in, which makes it really funny for why it's on the box art. I don't know. I just don't get it. I think it's a box. It's a tobacco livery because like the D model kits Ford Sierra for the '91 Portugal Rally had the same lower placard sponsor, and those placards are not on the box art, but they do include the decals in the kit as a separate piece that you add back onto the rally placard. Just know that those placards are not complete in the actual kit. This kit has new wheels. The Oz Racing wheels are new. There are 5 of them. You get 4 for the car, and then a spare tire one that has the lug nuts drilled out, so it's a nice touch on a rally kit. And then the front lighting assembly there is new in this kit as well. And that'll take us over to a couple of new reissues, if you want to call them that. So first up, 1973 BMW 2002 Tii. So BMW 2002 Tii kit, been around for a while now. These were one of the first, second, I think it was the second, might have been the third, new tool kit when they started doing all these automotive kits constantly. And they did the 2002 Turbo, which included the big rear taillights, but they did not do a sort of down trim regular one. So big taillights is this picture here, the big taillights in the back there, the big rectangles, trapezoids. Every other pre-1973 or what they call late 2002 had like the round ones that are about the size of a coffee mug and have an integrated turn signal brake light, backup light in the round chamber, the round shape of the taillight. There's no real way to get out of the basics of that, I guess. But yeah, so this is not a new kit. All these parts exist. They're just sort of being combined into a kit for the first time. Now you could take the turbo kit and not put all the turbo stuff on it and pretty much walk away with this, but you would not get this specific set of sort of regular wheels that this kit comes with. So yeah, nothing new about it, but it is the first time that Hasegawa has done a late version 2002 just regular car that's not a turbo. So there's that. And then the other one that is a modified reissue is the 1980 Mazda RX-7 GT. This includes a new front lower air dam, as you can see to the left of the picture, and then it has new wheels. So the new steely wheels being done for this version as well. I believe it's going to be molded in silver. And those two minor differences, along with a new decal sheet, will take this to a late version of the first gen RX-7. So that if you're interested in this, that will be coming as well. And then 2 that I'm saving for last as we exit out here. So first up, we got the Mini Cooper Countryman All 4. Some people may not remember that Hasegawa even did this kit in the past, but yeah, was done in 2007. And it's been reissued in 2012, and that was reissued 2021, I believe, or 2020, each with different like Union Jack roof graphics. What this one comes with, as you can see from the box art there, is a schoolgirl's figure. So yes, it's been a little while, but we're bringing back the Resin Girls. Kit's unchanged, although I believe there's a slightly different decal sheet in here than it's been in the past. And then you get this young lady dressed up for school. But wait, there's more. We also have a reissue of the Lamborghini Jota SVR as a World Egg Girls version with Sasha Ilyushina figure. So, ladies and gentlemen, Brian, I know you're already waiting for it. Yes, we are Resin Girls. All the things. Oh, it's been so long. This Jota SVR is the same kit that's always been. It's of course got a new set of decals in here for the Wild Egg Girls tie-in, but otherwise it is the same kit as it's always been. And yeah, that, guys, is the kits for the month of May. Now you know what you're going to buy. Now you know you're going to Resin Girl all the things. We'll see you guys on the other side.